schedules and traveling to teach workshops, today's guest wanted to create a way for more students to enjoy more Pilates. By creating online mat and reformer Pilates classes, she was able to help clients get their Pilates fix without fighting traffic or getting on a plane. Please welcome a very dear friend of mine, Lesley Logan. How are you?
Oh my gosh, Jillian, I'm so good. Thank you. You know, it's so fun when you hear your bio, you're like, I did do that. That's what I was doing before.
Totally. And how great is it that people don't have to get on an airplane to attend a class? Like, that's incredible.
It's so cool. It's what's also so cool is like our members I think they like compete with who can take Pilates in the coolest places. And so like there was a time someone was doing it at a sheep farm and someone was doing over like on a rooftop over Portugal. Like, I mean, it's just like the world is really beautiful and I get to see it through people's Pilates pictures.
It's so cool. Well, and tell me a little bit more about what inspired you to build your own business because it's pretty incredible.
Thank you. I will say I didn't grow up with like entrepreneurs like around me. So I didn't even know that you could start your own thing. I just figured like somebody started things and then other people worked for those people. But what ended up happening is when I became a Pilates instructor and somebody had just like told me you should do that. And that was kind of like the domino effect. And then I was, you start your own business. That's what people say. They're like, you get clients, you start your own business. I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't realize I was starting a business when I was starting one. I just thought, I'm teaching people and the city will let you know that you have a business. They will send you a letter and they will say, hey, I think you have a business. I was like, oh, okay. Note to self. But what ended up happening is because of my ability to help people with their business and grow their business from my background before I was a Pilates instructor, and because of who trained me in the Pilates world, which is one of Joseph Pilates' clients, I was being called to go around the world to teach. So I would teach workshops on how to build your business, and I would teach workshops on Pilates from like the person who taught me Pilates, which taught Joseph Pilates. So it's like this big thing, right? And so I had been traveling so much, and my husband was like, your classes need you when you're gone and you don't have anything to give them. And so I was like, I know, but like, are people going to do things online? This is like 2017, everyone, obviously. I was like, are people going to do things online? I don't know. And I also really wanted to make sure that people had the same thing that they loved about going to a gym, the accountability, the community, right? That they had inside of my online platform. And so since I hadn't seen that, right, Netflix gives you everything all the time. Like there's every Peloton class in the world is on there still, right? But like I was like, no, I really want everyone to be taking the exact same class, but I didn't want it to be on live stream because I wanted people, because I had to travel. I wanted people to be able to take it whenever it was good for them, but I still wanted them to take the same one. And I wanted them to have the community and someone on to have accountability. And so what inspired me to start my own business was a demand. I needed to solve a problem that I was having for the people that I loved. And then B, how could I make it so that it still had that unique effect and it was different than what was already out there? So that was kind of what started the whole thing.
I love the fact that you used, like, you took the things that you loved and then you fixed the things that you didn't love and made it into this incredible community that you've created with all these people that take the same class, love Pilates in general. Like, it's just so cool. So, tell me what your biggest challenge was in building this business because you've kind of got some stuff that you're building off of, but you've also got brand new stuff that no one else is doing.
Yeah. So, biggest challenge is memberships. People, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, membership, she's must be rolling in it. No, they're extremely expensive to run. And there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And so the biggest challenge is you kind of need two people for every client you want to have every 90 days. The other, because there's a churn and the average membership out there in the world. I mean, we definitely are higher on average. If we can get past people past 90 days, we can keep them for over a year. So we actually have really amazing retention because we really do get results and people do love the community. Like even if they're having a bad week, they just love that people miss them. Right. But the biggest challenge is when you're new, if you build it, they don't come. Just so you know, and also when something is like ongoing, there's not a sense of urgency. They can sign up next week or they can sign up the week after that. So you're kind of always trying to get more eyes on your stuff and then also making sure they understand that your stuff solves the problem that they know they have or don't know that they have. And so that was the problem from the very beginning, was just getting enough eyes. Cause when we launched it, I thought, okay, I've got 30 people in this class and 45 people in this class. And I got all these classes. I was like, for sure, we'll have 100 people. No, no, we had 5. And so we had to grow from scratch. And that was a big challenge for us, for sure.
Well, and I think that's something for other people to hear, because I think for a lot of us, we build this big amazing thing and we think that people are just going to come in droves, and it's just not true. And so you just have to keep going. I mean, that's a huge thing that people need to know, that you don't fail by not, learning and evolving and things like that. And I think so many people just give up when they realize, like, they're like, I don't have 100 people, I'm done, I'm out. And I think it's so great that you're like, nope, we're gonna keep going, we're just gonna keep doing it.
I mean, first of all, y'all, we started in our 500 square foot apartment. My husband would like move the table to one side. We move these chairs around, and then like we put the mat in such a way that like the phone from across the room you could see me, and we had lights. I think we had bad lighting, and we had to film at certain times because construction. So you have to like walk the dogs, and a couple times it didn't film. And so I had to film again in Cambodia. I never missed a week. We have always had a new class every single week since in 2017, we started the classes on my old site. And then in 2018, we launched onlinepilatesclasses.com because that URL was just sitting out there. So don't ever think that someone stole your idea. There are like amazing URLs still out there. Like we have the most searched term as our URL because we looked for it in 2018. It was just sitting there for whatever reason. So we got it, and then we were able to move into a studio. And then we were able to move when we moved to Vegas. Now we have a different setup, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I didn't have a microphone. I yelled across my apartment to an iPhone for a year, and people signed up and they paid, and they were diehards of our classes. And those people who were with us with no mic are still with us today.
That is so awesome. So that was going to be my next question, is what would you do differently if you had to do it all over again? Because I know a lot of people are like searching for perfection and like, oh, I gotta have the right camera, I gotta have the right lights, and that prevents them from moving forward.
Yeah, I think I'm okay. I'm fine with how we started. And I also am fine that we didn't even have a logo. Like we had a URL, and we just used my old site's logo with different colors. Like I think like just done is better than perfect. And I know you're a big fan of that too, Jillian. And so don't worry about having a logo. Don't worry about any of that. That's not how branding works anyways. But I say what I would have done differently is I think I would have just been a little bit more unapologetic about the platform. I think because I did have some insecurities about, it was my apartment for whatever reason. It didn't look bad. It looked really cute. People loved it. But like, I had this idea that like, it wasn't good enough. It's a freaking great class. It was the class is what they're coming for. They're not coming for like the wall, that I was in. So I think I would have just been more unapologetic about promoting myself and not waiting for things to get a little bit better to be, or just even like, not wait for my confidence to be there. I think I should have just gone for it and let the confidence come.
Yeah. I think that's so important for people to know, that you just start where you are and you're always going to build, it's always going to evolve. And how do you find, like, what do you find is the most difficult, or how do you find balance between teaching the classes, but also doing the activities that run your business? Because it's kind of two different buckets, but all the same.
Yeah, I know. People think I spend a lot of time teaching. I spend most of the time like running a business and all the other things. I will say what I do now for balance is very different than what I did then, because back then I wore a lot more hats than I do today. So when we started the platform, it was myself, my husband, who had a different company that I would hire him to edit my video. And then I would like write up the class description, and I would send out the newsletter. I would say for balance then I didn't really have a lot of it, but also the company grows with you. So the demands that are now on me to show up for the community take up the time that I was spending behind the scenes. And so I hire people. So if you are feeling out of balance, some of the things that I did to figure out like, what's my next hire? How do I like get this imbalance back in balance is really being clear on like what requires my face and what requires my voice and what requires like my actual physical body. And if a task doesn't require those things, then we really should figure out who else can do it on the team. We should hire for that because it's taking away from my ability to connect with the community, to connect with potential members, to connect with members who are having questions. There are quite like I have a support team, but there are some questions that they just can't answer because they're not a teacher. And so that's kind of, I think balance is always evolving, and you'll know it's time to have another evolution when you're like, "Ooh, I'm out of balance right now." And then it's just a matter of like being very clear that you still have to do that thing, because some of the stuff I was doing is now automated because of technology. It's changed. It's like so crazy to think 4 years, like what's a lot, like a lot of the stuff I was doing is automated now.
That's so cool. And so do you feel like automation is just one aspect of how you keep that your business growing, or is there like other things that you're like, "Oh, this made a huge difference for me?"
Yeah. Some things, we can't automate because I really do believe the power in personal touch. And I really do want people to feel like they're talking to a real human being. I think that makes us unique and stand out. But what I will say is the thing that moved the needle forward for us is having very specific events that people like solved a problem. So challenges or programs or workshops and collaborating with others. So, I only teach Pilates and I have friends who are anti-diet coaches. So connecting with them, going on their podcast, that kind of stuff, that when you can have that human touch where they can really get to experience you and trust you, that's what's moved. That's all, every time we do that, you can see the membership grow.
I love that. And kind of along the same lines, when you're reaching out to other people to help with your business, how do you find support when you're having challenges with your business? Do you have like a group of people that has formed over time? Tell me a little bit about that because I think it's so important for us as business owners because we kind of get locked into this thing where we're like, oh, I'm the only one that's having that problem. And it's just not true.
No, I years ago, I heard this idea of plus minus equal. We all need to have a plus minus and equal in our life. A plus is a mentor. So I've always had a coach since 2018. I've had a coach, and that's very helpful because like you have aspirations of where you can go. And they also, when you get into those group masterminds, they attract more people who are very similar to you because like attracts like, and they're in different businesses usually. So that I think is really important. But then equals is like other people who are at the same level of what you're doing. And so I found those people in those groups, and then just, through connecting to people. And I love that because you don't need it to become like a little festival of like bum zone, but like you do need to hear that, like it's good to hear their challenges. And so you getting on a phone call and just saying, okay, they get to say what's going well in their business, what's not going well in their business, and what they need advice on right now. And then you figure, like, you go, okay, I'm not the only one there. And then having people who are below you, whether or not you're doing that as a paid coaching aspect, but just like somebody who you can actually bestow what you've learned, because it gives you confidence because you realize how far you've come. So I found like finding my group of people I have mostly paid for, because I've just found coaches who are taking people to where I want to go. And then I've got that group, but not everybody is for everyone. So I've always like been drawn to a couple different people, and just knowing that like, it's okay if you outgrow them, then just make sure that you're honoring that and find a new set, but do not go it alone, because I'm very lucky. I work with my husband. So I don't ever feel alone too much, but I would say like, you need to know other people in a similar business so you can understand like, okay, we're all going through the same thing together. And for the most part right now, for everyone, it's like traffic. Like everybody needs eyes on their prize, right?
Absolutely. Now, this is a question that I love to ask all of my podcast guests. What's one piece of advice that you would give to someone listening to this podcast that's a small business owner? Just what's the one thing where you're like, I've got to shout this from the mountaintops?
Yeah. Choose one thing and go all in. really, really like go deep on something before you go wide. Because I will say at the same time that we started onlinepilatesclasses.com, we started profitablpilates.com. And that one, I mean, those businesses already existed, but we actually created a membership business for that one as well. And you cannot grow two things at the same time well. And so, we constantly felt like we were going back and forth. And now where we're at is we have two very thriving businesses that require a lot of time. And so I would not know which one I would choose because I love them both so much, but I think I would have had a lot less out of balance moments if I had gone deep on one. And then when that one was really thriving and running smoothly, then started the other one. And I really would say to anyone small, just get known for something first, one thing, and then you can expand.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's so true because I feel like there's so many distractions out there for us as business owners that just saying like focus on one thing and just go for it. And then it's not like you can't come back to that other thing. It's just getting this one up and running and thriving, and then you can move on to the
Yeah.
next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you have something that you are willing to share with my listeners. I would love to hear about it. It's a free class, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So over at onlinepilatesclasses.com/free, when you go there, you'll be offered a free 30-minute mat class. You'll have to keep that class forever. And if you've doubted Pilates effects, if you've ever rejected Pilates, I really want you to do it. If you know what Pilates is, then please do it. The reality is what I know is that if you can connect to yourself first, you can connect more to others. And when you are running a small business, you don't have a lot of time. So you need a full body workout. So that's why my classes are 30 minutes. So you're going to get a full body workout, but also you're going to have time to just connect your mind to your body and not think about your business and not think about anything else, just thinking about what in your body is moving where. And you're also going to practice doing hard things, challenging things. And you'll hear me remind you that you're practicing. Oh, look at you doing something hard. You're doing hard things. Because then however you are in your workouts, whatever they are, that's how you are in your business. So if you're getting frustrated in your body, in your workouts, I bet you're getting frustrated with yourself in your business. And so let me retrain your mind as I retrain your body so you can take that information into your actual business.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much for spending time with me. There's so many amazing things that we talked about today, and I know that people are gonna love that class when they check it out. So for everyone listening, all those links will be in the show notes so they're easy, accessible, so you can spend time with Lesley. Thank you again so much for being here.
Yes, Jillian, thank you so much for having me. And, everyone listening, you've got this. You really, really have it. You really do. Just keep going.